Okay, hi. In answering the question, I looked at the intervention of e-learning, and the question asked me to identify and manage the resources. So this is how I took the question apart and hopefully came up with the answer. First of all, in dealing with identify, I wanted to find out what was the issue, what were the problems. From that there, who are the stakeholders involved? So depending on what position you're taking in answering it, you may be a senior manager, a line manager, a learner, or even a trainer or a facilitator if you're looking at that. So it's really, really important that you spend time to identify who and what are the issues that you're addressing with the intervention. In addressing that, you need to also start to think about adding value and value for money in relation to it. Now, what we spoke about in the class during the sessions was the value for money approach and the adding value. And if you remember your glossary on now, the way to remember it is using the mnemonic of the 3 E's. Now, by using that there, you will then be able to have other parts of it that will fall out. In addition to that, you need to think very early on about evaluation. And in the class, we spoke about the differences between validation and evaluation. We discussed that level 1 and 2, using the White Law and Hamlin model, is definitely validation. And when we talk about that, that is on program. And a good example of that is your happy sheets. We are more concerned about levels 3, 4 and 5, which is evaluation, and this definitely links into adding value. So there's a positive correlation between them 3 outcomes, or the 3 levels of evaluation, and adding value. We also need to consider what is the issue and how have we identified the issue. And here in the module we spoke about a needs analysis, and the way that we can use that is our mnemonics DAD and ASK. Now, if you remember DAD, decide where you want to go in terms of attitude, skills and knowledge, the ASK. Assess what we currently have got in regards attitude, skills and knowledge. And by us assessing that, hopefully we'll start to identify if there's an issue. And then the final D is determine how we're going to get there in terms of attitude, skills and knowledge. When you're looking at it from an organisational point of view, you can use the Ashridge model. And again, here we remember by the 3 F's, the formalised, focused and fragmented approach. And again, that can link into what it is that you're trying to overcome and how the culture of your organisation in terms of learning and talent development are approached. In doing that, the second part of the question asks us to think about resources. So here we're clearly answering both parts of the question. And if you remember, we stressed in revision, read the question and answer it. So we've got 2 parts. Here when we're talking about the resources of e-learning, have we got the resources in-house? If we haven't, then there's going to be lots of costs for initial outlay if we're going to run it in-house. That can link into what Stuart and Rig is talking about in your book on page 266. All about, Sarah, there I am, all about costing and budgeting. If, however, we consider going to the outsourcing option, again here you can compare the costs between in-house, and if it's only going to be a one-off intervention that needs to be done, then you need to consider, is e-learning the actual best intervention to help us solve the issue or the problem? If it's something that long-term, then it may be that we want it in-house, but again, that will be driven by whatever you come up with on your talent ecology. And if you remember, that means teams, individuals, your strategy, your structure, culture, and your organisational habits. Bringing all these together can feed into this. Morrison tells us about the push and pull effect. We spoke about this in the class in regards to e-learning. So if you look at now and you apply that to Nottingham, we post everything up on now and you pull down what you want. To a certain degree, the lectures push the stuff because we will post it on now. So there's a bit of both there, but you will definitely pull it down what you want. More importantly, once you've considered all this, is how did us all link back the added value in the organisation? And that point has to be really stressed. It's about whatever intervention that we're looking at. We've looked at identify and we've looked at how to manage these resources, which links into the bigger picture of how the intervention adds value. So now Anne's going to take us through answering the same question but from a coaching perspective, so we give you both views of interventions that can work to answer it. I think we're off and running.
Okay, so exactly the same question. I'm coming at it from a different perspective from James. I'm looking at the subject of coaching. What I ask you to do first of all is have a look at the board here and just see if you can identify which bits are in red and why they're in red. So what I've done here, and similarly when you look back at James's board on e-learning, scattered throughout the answer are bits of text highlighted in red which indicate straight away that we can see that you're supporting your answer with some references to research papers, some references to models and frameworks discussed in class. And that is exactly what we want to aim for. That yes, of course, there's a written argument and an explanation of your answer to the question, but it needs to be scattered throughout with particular references, and that's the kind of balance that we're looking for. So first of all, the question says talk about an intervention you're involved with, so I would want to see a very brief description of what it was, your involvement with it, what it was trying to do, and some detail around the costs and the timescales, so that we can see the context to the answer that then follows. The question's in two parts: identify and manage. Identify, first of all, is really trying to get a feel for how the need for the intervention that you're discussing came to light. Was it something you spotted? Was it something the line manager spotted? You could link also there to models of proactive and reactive HRD. Did it come from individual sources? Have you got a team saying to you there's an issue with a manager? Or at organisational level, are you picking up data from attitude survey, from customer data, from perhaps appraisal data that indicates to you there's an issue somewhere? And that could be with one individual or it could be with a group of individuals. Models that are relevant are the very simple cycle, the model that Harrison puts forward in terms of where the identification starts, moving through to design, delivery and evaluation. You could also refer to Boydell and Leary's model of analysis at different parts of the organisation, at individual or team or organisational level. Perhaps really good answers might also consider things like, is this need something that's ongoing or been around for a long time, or are you preparing your talent by looking into the future and thinking to yourself, how might this intervention support needs that are yet to be fulfilled? And really that would link very well to discussions of talent pools and talent pipelines. You could equally say, the intervention that I'm going to manage, is it a strengths-based need or is it a fix? Is it a remedial need? Because that would have implications for the type of contract that you agreed when it came to managing the intervention. Okay, so moving across to managing the intervention, for me the thing here is to set up the contract with the person who's being coached, with the coaching company and with the senior manager in the organisation, so that you're very clear what it is you're trying to do. And I'm hoping that as I'm talking, you can see the similarities between the structure of this answer and James's answer, which is about relating what you want to do right back to added value. So good answers would bring in material from research reports that talk about the popularity of coaching and as part of the case of selling the intervention to the line manager to get the resource delivered. It's selecting a supplier, that's sort of part of your management process, internal or external. There are issues involved with choosing internal coaches, and there are advantages and disadvantages of using external coaches, not least of which is cost. So you'd look in terms of value for money, things like from the coach, their references, their track record, are they qualified, and in terms of matching the coach and the person they're going to coach, then a really good answer, I think, might consider concepts of power. For example, if it's a senior manager with a lot of status in the organisation, that would have implications for the type of coach that you match them with. And as I said, the heart of the answer here really is agreeing what the client is going to get out of this coaching contract, what data, qualitative or quantitative, are you going to collect as part of the managing this contract, so that at the end of the contract you've got some reasonable measures that relate to return on investment. Really good answers for me would also say, okay, that we've managed that resort, we've managed that intervention now what do we do with that data? Can we do anything in terms of knowledge transfer back into the organisation? How might that impact upon HRD credibility, ready for future interventions to take place? Okay, thank you. Don't need to say thank you.